Sugar's Magic Circus. Welcome. It's the geriatric division.
Yes.
We got some old Marines here today, but that's okay. We're going to have a good time.
We are going to have a good time.
And we got a lot of structure to this program, so Keith, why don't we start with...
Got to stay on track.
Got to stay on track.
Or the producer will come over and
It's
kick
my
our ass.
understanding that you have even more mail than you usually do.
This was what I got today.
That's crazy.
That, and I got my ass kicked by 2 male people. One was a woman. They came to my house and beat me up. They're sorry to this shit.
That's nice.
Anyway, today's letter is from Hunter Patikowski. It said, Dear
Hi, Hunter.
Sirs. That's a first. Dear Sirs.
Hmm.
Dear Sirs, I'm a machine gunner
Is that grammatically
serving...
correct?
Pardon me?
Is that grammatically correct?
No, I like when you salute. Morning, sirs. So, more than one ossifer. So, Hunter, I lost my place now. Shut up. Dear sirs, my name is Hunter Patikowski. I'm serving with 2nd Battalion 7 Marines as a machine gunner. He goes on about a couple combat tours. He lost a couple friends. He loves his friends, but he's got a really good opportunity to go to school when he gets out. And he said, I'm afraid I'll never see my friends again. Which is a valid concern. You know, as we know, you grow very tight with these people.
Yeah.
So Hunter, what we're going to do, you know, he's asking, is that a reality? You and Sal seem to have known each other for a long time, and a lot of your guests know each other for a long time. Hunter, here's what we're doing today. We brought on 2 gentlemen who we've all known each other for a long time. Mike Wynn has been on the show before. We've been friends since we were 9 years old. 20 years in the Marine Corps. Jimmy Shulson and I have been together since I got to 7 days ahead of him, and that was in 1990, or that's 1978, 1979. So, and we're still together. So you can keep your friends, but we should talk about that a little bit, about the friendships you make in the Marine Corps and the contacts you make.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, I've been in retired for 22 years, and my contact, every job I've had is because I knew somebody. You know, getting out.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the way the format of the show works, Jimmy, Mike's been on before, but we generally ask people, like, how'd you end up finding yourself in the Marine Corps? Like, I know that you went to the Naval Academy, which should have made you a naval officer. So how'd you screw that up?
Well, they probably didn't want me. And just the background, general background is that every graduating class out of the Naval Academy, by congressional law or whatever you want to call it, only 16 2/3% of each graduating class can go into the Marine Corps.
Oh, really? No.
So you're talking about 150, 160 guys.
Yeah.
So, because we all work for the Navy, whatever. And so that was, while I was there, I had 2 mentors, I would say, and one of them was General Christmas. Retired General Christmas. Yeah. He was a major at the time, and another great gentleman. He lives up in, he lives in like Quantico now, Colonel Larry Atkinson, and they were just 2 role models for me. I just thought, if that's what a Marine is, that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
And so either that or I could have ended up in the Navy on a whaler out of Earl, New Jersey. So,
Let's leave New Jersey out of this.
Some good bars in Earl.
You would have been happy.
Where I graduated in my class said, you're either going to the Marine Corps or you're going on an oiler. Out of Earl,
Salvation
New
Armies.
Jersey, Whalers, by the way, in the Navy, probably one of the worst jobs in the Navy, because if you don't show up at sea for an unrep, underway replenishment, in the right place, it's always your fault.
Yeah, sure.
The aircraft carrier, they're superior. And I didn't want that kind of pressure. So because of those 2 gentlemen, though, basically that's why I chose Marine Corps and got in. And
well, how did you get?
was right behind.
What even drove you to join the military? Period. Tell that little
it's
anecdote.
kind of funny. I had no military in my family. My dad. That's a funny story too. My dad actually got his notice or draft notice on his wedding day, and he just said, "They'll find me if they need me." It was post. I think it was post Korea, or very close to the end of the Korean conflict. And he just, well, if they want me to find me, so they never found him. And so I had no military background and nothing, but it was. I played sports and naval Naval Academy was interested in me to come and play for him. So
Don't sell yourself short.
Well-
Just talk a little bit about that lacrosse gag at Naval Academy. Where
So-
did you end up?
well, you know that I first of all I can remember the guy came to my house, a guy from my neighborhood that also played lacrosse at Navy, and he sat in there, and it was like March of my senior year in high school. And I said, no, I'm not going. He said, we want you to go to our preparatory school.
Why's that, Jim?
Well,
Yeah, Jimmy, why not go straight to the Naval Academy?
I could-
He asked with bated breath. Score on that one.
mostly because I got into that whole process way too late, I think.
Yeah,
It could have been my high school grades. I don't know. So anyway, you know, he came. And of course, I'm like coming out of high school, and I'm thinking, no, I want to go to a real college. I'm not going to prep school. I'm not doing anything. Long story short, I ended up at the prep school, and so that was I had to enlist, but it was kind of a formality, and enlisted in the Navy, and then went to prep school. That was at old Naval Training Center, Bainbridge, Maryland. And then went there for a year, went on to the Naval Academy, and I played lacrosse there. That's what kept me there as well.
So you might say there was an academic run-in or two, perhaps. Perhaps some friction.
There were some opportunities to visit some of the senior members of the academic department on a semester basis, and commandant of the Naval Academy, and you know, a few others. But again, some of those people spoke up for me every time. I don't know what it was they saw in me, but something said, let's keep this guy around. And so so I played there for all 4 years, and played with just some unbelievable guys, great friends that I still have from that team. You know, one was with us last night.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that worked out. I was able to maintain for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let us little codicil on that. Class of 78.5.
78 and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
That was me. So.
A few make-up things.
Yeah, so anyway, and went on to TBS there, so in January, as opposed to the guys that graduate on time. Stuff like
So,
that.
you know, interesting to me as I sit here and listen to the banter, like it's the same generationally, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you're never going to let him live that shit.
Oh,
down,
no.
Right?
Because he's got
I love
shit
that.
on me, too.
I love that, because that's the same crap that happens even today, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guys we
Great
had on the other
stories
day.
there all the time.
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. They were
Mama's
still doing
boy.
it, too. That's
They were
funny.
busting
Yeah.
each other's balls. These two guys
That's
were
right.
hysterical.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that, you know, the future's bright. We can still fuck with each other when we get older.
Yeah.
oh hell yeah.
So what was your MLS, Jimmy?
So I started out as 0302, and that was kind of a funny story too, 'cause we had a very small class at TBS. In fact, it almost didn't go. We only had about, I'm trying to remember, about 140 guys in our TBS
Oh, that's
company,
tiny, yeah.
and I think a normal TBS class was around the 200.
2 1/4.
Two
What was ours? 2 1/4?
Yeah,
240.
so
240.
filling out the MOSs, you know, towards the end of your TBS time, you know, you filled out your dream sheet, and along with that dream sheet was, remember peer evals?
AKA Spear Valves.
I was down in, you had to put top 3 in your platoon or whatever, and bottom 3. I was in almost everybody's bottom 3. But it was funny, because a lot of those guys,
Or nozzles.
well, they had no
Am I not
experience in
surprised by that?
they had no experience in evaluating people. And, you know, I'm thankful the Naval Academy gave me some military training as well, some background in that. And you know, so I had literally guys that wrote, you know, he's in my bottom 3 because he farts a lot in class.
Which is true to this day.
Maybe it's because we closed down the Hawk every night. But, you know, there was those kind of comments, and I was in bottom 3s. But anyway, everybody got their assignments, and I didn't have one.
Well, what was your
And
top 3?
What the hell?
You didn't say.
I think my top 3 was something like data
NBC?
systems, dispersing, and who knows,
So you wanted to be a savage
something.
warrior.
Well, you're into my CO, or I think it was his CO, it was Captain Stokes. Remember Stokes when we were
Yeah.
there at TBS?
Yeah.
You remember Stokes, the guy, you know, and he was like, okay, we got a problem here, you can get your MOS selections, they're
Yeah.
all closed. He said, so you need to think right here and now about what MOS you'd like. So, I mean, literally, if I would have had the MOS chart, I would have started going down the whole thing. How about artillery? He's like, no, can't help you, that's close. How about tanks? You're too tall. Okay. Ampex? No. How about engineering? Blow crap up. No, it's closed. Christ. How about personnel? How about motor T? Everything's no. And I, now.
You knew where you were going. Yeah.
Now I know where it's going because we almost didn't have an IOC class. There was so few infantry guys.
Yeah.
Out of 140, I think we had about 15 guys on infantry.
Yeah.
They didn't want to. Wheeled down, and next thing I know, well, gee, sir, how about infantry? Spot on. I'm here. You had everything filled out, and you signed here. So, then I went to IOC. You remember the instructor, Bo Dishman.
Bo Dishman. I'd follow that guy through the gates of
No
hell.
kidding. Bo Dishman was there, and I forget.
Sattler was one of ours.
Beeman and John Sattler.
Beeman was one of John's.
General Sattler.
Sattler.
Yeah.
You talk about a funny ass motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
He was hysterical as an instructor, and he'd come in and he always was upbeat about everything. It's like, it could be raining poop. We're going out the rain poop today.
Yeah.
And, hey, get your rucksacks, man. Let's go.
Another Naval Academy guy.
Yeah. He was a great guy.
Yeah. So we had great instructors
Yeah.
and leadership at IOC. But then, I have all sorts of funny stories from that. What was it, 6 weeks? It was like they tried to teach you everything about infantry.
Yeah, because I was
in 6
a
weeks.
second class through IOC.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only second iteration thereof. So they were kind of feeling their way through. We had a
Yes.
recon week, we had a call for fire week with mortars, we did machine guns, we had the patrolling package. It was not a cakewalk, but it was not the savagery of today. But it was pretty goddamn demanding.
I remember going down to, I think we went to AP Hill on our last raid.
They're doing a raid, POW camp
And
raid.
of course,
Fast rope.
rappel in.
Yeah.
They didn't have fast rope.
Oh, that's right.
So
Pretty
just
fast.
rappelling in. So of course these guys were looking at me like, all right, he's a big guy. Give him the radio. Okay, no, not a problem. Oh, he's a big guy. Give him the machine gun.
Mm-hmm. So I get the radio and the machine gun.
That's right. And I'm going down the road.
Yeah.
And I pity the fool that's underneath me on the right. And I get down. And then
Pity the fool.
and our idiot little patrol leader he chose let's go cross compartment.
This jackasses did the same
We're
thing
going
in
to
our
go
raid.
straight.
Can't read
Cross
that.
compartment. So we're going up, and then we're going down. And I'm still hauling all this crap. And we come into this, just a little, like a creek, a stream, whatever, and I get right in the middle of it, and then I turn around and I freeze everybody. I just laid down in the thing. This is July.
Yeah, it's 180 degrees.
Virginia. I just laid down in the thing. I roll over. And I get up. And little did I know that Dishman was following.
Oh,
us.
shit.
And I'm like, oh Christ! So we finished everything. I remember. No, the helicopters couldn't extract us out, so we had to get on the cattle cars to go up 95 back to, 95 is it? Up to back to Quantico. And when we had our hot wash afterwards, right away. And Dishman is like, okay, Shulson, here we go. Smartest move I ever saw in a long time. He goes, you're overheating, you're hot, stop everybody, you kept your eyes on the. Because the guys in front of me, they kept moving, but we were bushwhacking cross country. It was easy. I saw you keeping your eyes on them. You cooled off. You went. Instead of becoming a casualty, he said, didn't make no problem. You were in a kill zone.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you're crossing a danger area.
But only you. But, and that was pretty good. And then when IOC was over, took a little leave and went out 2-7. Pendleton was my first unit.
Yep, I was an old hand there. Been there 7 days.
Yeah.
The company commander was a great guy, Mike Taylor. He's a first lieutenant. And calls me in his office, says, Keith, you got a new lieutenant. I'm like, now, 7 Marines hadn't seen any lieutenants since, like, the Civil War. So when we showed up, Colonel Barstow was, like, dancing around. I didn't know who he was. He was the fucking janitor. He came down the hallway. He's smaller than me. He weighed about 80 pounds, bald. He's got no blouse on. It's just a T-shirt. It's Pendleton. It's hot. T-shirt and cami trousers. Comes down, hey, this is Lieutenant, hey! And me and Harry and Brian like stick our heads out in the S1's office. Hey fellas, how you doing? Nice to see you. I'm Charlie Barstow, and I'm going, who the fuck is this nut? And it's Colonel Barstow, war hero, great guy. And then Jimmy shows up 7 days later.
But Barstow was gone, but you must have had a change of command ceremony the week that I showed up.
Yeah.
So it was Haggerty?
Haggerty.
Colonel Haggerty came in after that. Yeah.
So were the three of you at TBS together?
No.
No, Pete
Well,
and I were at TBS.
You were at TBS
together.
together.
We were there at the same time.
Okay, gotcha.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit. We all, well,
I was
what
about
company are you?
Charlie Company. So
Yeah,
I was
so-
two behind
was
it.
he?
We were Alpha, the neo-Nazi Bravo,
Yeah, we got
briefcase
out in
Bravo
March.
assholes.
Yeah, and we started in
No,
January,
did we
so.
it was March. You're right. It was March. It was cold.
So we were there for
There's
2 months,
so
but
much
I didn't
shit
know
on the
them
ground.
then.
And are we still the only TBS class that didn't have our final war because it got snowed out?
Yeah, it was the worst blizzard to hit the East Coast. What, in 1,000 years?
Yeah.
Where were we, Mike, when that blizzard hit? Oh, by the by.
Oh, we were up in New Jersey, in probably the bottle stop.
Yeah.
Drinking beer. So this fool and I, of course, from the last time, we've been friends since we were 9 years old. And so when I got to Pendleton finally, after all these fools were at Pendleton for years, and I was here at Camp Lejeune, enjoying it.
He's still pissed about that.
I am pissed about it. They suck. They were telling stories last night, and I was like almost crying because I wish I could have been there for it. You know, the whole chicken story. I would love
So
to have been there.
this 3-day war, remember that's when we got caught in New Jersey in that blizzard?
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, where's that? What happened with that?
You know, I don't actually remember. I know that.
Remember we tried to get, we had
that's
my
right.
car, that giant
Yeah.
Plymouth Fury 3,
Mhm.
not the
Yeah.
size of your house.
Mhm.
And Mike's going, we're not getting out of here. I'm like, and we're second lieutenants. You don't know what you don't know. It's pre-cell phone, pre-computer. And I'm like, we're pooping cupcakes. We're like, we got to get back or they'll kill us. They'll make us join the Salvation Army with Jim, and I'll have to play a tube in the band. It's going to suck. And so we're like, we don't know what to do. So we get in this car, and we live about 8 miles max to the exit on the turnpike where we want to get on. Max.
Yeah.
And Mike's going, we ain't going to make it. And thank God we were in my car that weekend because he had a Spitfire, which is the size of this table. So I'm like, no, we'll get through. I got the Mobile. We're good. It took us an hour and a half to get to the turnpike.
Oh boy.
And Mike, we're waiting around. We got to turn around. We're gonna die. And we got to go over to across the Raritan Bay on that bridge, which I was pretty sure we were just gonna slide off into the drink and they'd never see us again. And we get home.
Some people would have been happy.
We walk back in the door. I'm sure my parents are thinking, "Fuck, we're out of beer. What are we gonna do now? How we gonna tame the Indians?"
How did we find out that we were? Did we even
We called.
find out?
No, I called.
Because we didn't have cell phones.
So I called and got
No.
some lieutenant, was the OD, and I'm like, hey, listen, dude, it's Kelly from, what was that, 4th platoon, 3rd platoon, and I said, I'm with Wynn up here in Jersey, we can't get back, man, we're snowed in. He's like, dude, don't sweat it, no one's here. That's what we're talking about. It was like a long weekend before our 3-day war.
Yeah, it
So
was.
everybody swooped out. And he goes, no one's here. I've been on OD for 3 days now. There's nobody here. You can't get back. They told me if anybody calls to tell them to stay put till they can get home. And that was probably Wednesday before we could get back.
Yeah. It was several days.
And then the training areas, they went out to check the training areas for the 3-day war. All the captains and a couple majors and checking everything. They got stuck like 15 miles out and had to hump back. Because the snow drifts out in the training areas. It's crazy.
Hopefully it was Hafer.
Yeah. Who's Hafer, Mike? Would you tell us?
He was, what the hell were they called? SPCs?
Yeah.
SBAs, whatever the hell he was. And he was a first lieutenant. And he was afraid of us in our platoon. He really was. And he didn't do anything. I mean, absolutely. He didn't talk to us. And, I remember we'd go bang on his door. Come out, Hafer, we know you're in there.
He was a first lieutenant?
He was a first
Yeah.
lieutenant. Why they gave him that position to be in charge?
I think they ran out of people or
I
something.
kind of remember that.
And we
He
had
was a
Doing something else.
We had a prior enlisted guy who was in our platoon who was going through the law program. He's going to be a captain as soon as we got done. And he was really like our leader. He did all our uniform inspections, everything.
And this guy was an interesting guy too, because
Yeah.
he was with Charlie 19 in Vietnam during that great battle.
Mm-hmm.
He was a nice
Seymour.
Bill
Seymour.
Seymour. Yeah.
That was his name.
What a nice dude.
Uh-huh.
He was a gunny before he had commission, and he was with Charlie 19 and lived. And the most self-effacing, calm dude.
Mhm.
No, he was just the most humble man you ever want to meet. Oh, by the way, he managed to get a law degree along the way because I guess he was bored that week. I mean, these guys like talk about an overachiever, kind of like you. We'll get on him at some point. The things he's done.
Yeah.
So I guess the shift, Sal, is friendship. And you and I, how long have we known each other?
Almost 5 years.
Yeah. And how did we meet?
Well, I mean, I was going through the instructor qualification course as a major, and Keith did his job interview to become an instructor for the course. So I was going through the course, and he showed up to teach the course. And so his job interview was they made him teach a class.
Yeah.
And
Like,
they
"Can
used
you teach
our
the
class as his audience, so they could evaluate him teaching, so they could go, "Yep, he's a good teacher," and he is a good teacher.
What?
No, he really is. And then what's funny
Talk,
is
though. He's shy.
he hates to talk. Is right. He shows up with like a 3-hour class, so I'll let you take over from there.
They said, bring a class. I said, what? What do you want? He said, anything you want. So I was more doing a hospital security gig then, and I used to teach all the nurses and doctors. I was certified as a pressure point control tactics instructor and all this other shit. So I teach them self-defense classes, basically. But they wouldn't let me teach like throat punches and eye gouges. But I would do when nobody was around, I would teach them that. Anyway, so I got this 3-hour class. So I get in there, and Drew Boers, great dude, retired Green Beret, was our boss at the time. And he goes, Keith, you got a class for us? I'm like, yeah. He goes, listen, I was wrong. We only got an hour instead of the 3. I can only give you an hour. Okay. He goes, can you cut it down to an hour? I said, okay. So that morning, he comes to me, he goes, we're in more of a jam. I said, what's the matter? He goes, can you cut it down like 40 minutes? Okay. I don't know if, to this day, I don't know if he's fucking with me.
That was all part of the interview.
Could have been, yeah,
I'm sure,
really.
yeah.
How
It really
adaptable
could
is
have
it? Yeah.
So we get there. I'm getting ready to walk in the classroom with Drew. They're on break. Erickson, I screwed this up. We only got like 22 minutes. Can you do it? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're on. And that's how. So it's
awesome.
Sal's class.
Yeah.
And that's the first time we had met.
This was before I had retired.
Yeah, he's
It's
still.
funny then, because all 4 of us, unbeknownst to us, we've all been through that instructor qualification course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were all at LTC or EWTG PAC.
Yeah.
So we've all been through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
4 Marines together didn't know.
No.
Here we are.
And here we
So
are.
you passed, so?
Yeah, I did okay.
Okay, good. In spite of that.
Yeah, and then what happened was I retired the next year, and I kind of transitioned right into the guy he was working with before that had just basically had enough of the contracting company
He quit.
and split.
Yeah.
And the opening came right about the time I was retiring, and so I was like, oh,
It was
perfect.
actually kind of funny because Maggie, this lady we worked, she's been on the show as well, she's a former staff sergeant. She goes, hey Keith, Sal's going to come down and he's going to take JP's place. And I start laughing because we screw with each other all the time. We socialize together still. And I'm like, shut up. Sal's not coming here. She goes, no, really, he wants the job. I said, fuck you, Maggie. And she's like, no, I swear to God. So I see Sal. I said, are you really going to come down? He said, yeah, man. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And we had a lot of fun
We
together.
sure did, yeah. What a great gig.
Oh, it was 5 years, and they left us alone. They let us do whatever we
Yeah.
want. So it was fun.
I think that's like the most successful jobs I've ever had in the Marine Corps was with, don't take this wrong, but with the least amount of oversight,
Yeah, I agree.
right?
Teaching.
Any job I got in the Marine Corps that I really enjoyed was where there was hands off, like,
Leadership.
go be creative, make
Exactly.
things better,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they leave you the heck alone.
Yeah, yeah.
And give you a lot of freedom to go ahead and,
Well, there was a lot of subject matter experts
yeah.
teaching, and the people that were responsible for us, they had their own subject matter, but you're the expert in that. I'm just
Now, granted,
watching
you
technique.
cannot do that if you're dealing with PFCs and Lance Corporals, right?
Well, you can, but it's a disaster.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some strange physics
Trust
happening,
me,
right?
because I did the drill field for 2.5 years, and everything is regimented down
Structured,
to the second. How fast you can run them, how
These
many
things are
sit-ups,
driven.
pull-ups can they do? Yeah, you have no control over that,
Yeah.
which is a shame because you got some amazing drill instructors out there who could really do some good things for them. And so you always got to watch who's looking over.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, we're talking about, I think when you're an instructor, I thought it would be easy to get up and talk in front of people.
Yeah.
But,
It's harder than you think.
well, you know a subject, but you don't know how to teach a subject.
Mhm.
And you got to know every little thing, Well, why is that, sir?
Yeah, you're gonna get them.
Yeah.
So is this why you're so good at picking up chicks? Oh, you should see him work a bar. It's magic. I've been watching this show since we were in high school.
This is not true.
Oh, yes, it is. So here's one. How did you two schmucks end up together?
You know what? We
Drive
talked about
through
it.
you,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, because, you know, what do you mean?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out.
Well,
We've
either
been together so
through
long, I
you
can't
or
remember.
through
Well,
Izzy.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Izzy was at the drill field, so
Yeah.
another lieutenant that was with us
With the
in
2-7.
he
Went to
went
the drill field with Mike.
And
Yeah.
Keith was like, "Oh, you got to look up my buddy Izzy." Right? So we started hanging out. Then I don't know how we actually.
Had to be, yeah.
Well, we must have come up to San Clemente to party or something.
I'm sure we
still
can't
living out
remember
there,
the
right?
next morning how it happened, so why would we remember?
And literally, I think
What did I have for breakfast this morning? Hell, I don't know.
I think we had probably maybe hung out twice, and then he was getting married. Next thing I know, he was like, "Yeah, tell Wynn he's in." I think I was in your sword arch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
was. And so we went to Minnesota.
That was
Oh,
a
that
funny
was a
goddamn
trip,
weekend.
too. Oh my God.
Again, for the friendship thing, so I don't know how we got on Jim's wedding, but guys that we're still friends with were in that sword arch.
Yeah.
And I almost was not in the sword arch because in Lansing, Michigan, a stupid you can't take, and this is way before 9/11, obviously.
Yeah, well,
They're not going to let me get on a plane with a sword. I'm like, lady, it's a ceremonial sword. I could eat this and might get a stomachache. It can't hurt anybody.
yeah.
It's a weapon. Maybe in the 1840s, but not now. So she won't let me on the plane with it. She goes, we'll put it underneath. So, lady, in those days, that thing cost $400.
Yeah.
I said, listen, this thing gets bent, broken, scratched. I'm going to come back, and there's going to be blood on the horizon. Oh, sir. I'm like, I'm just telling you. Don't screw
Ivory
this
handle
up.
or just plastic handle?
No, ivory.
Ivory handle.
You have it in the original
The-
brown box?
No.
Behind Mike Wynn is my
Yeah.
enlisted sword, my officer sword. So what they're talking about is the white handle of the Marmaluke sword. There is in the old days they used to make it out of ivory. Actually, make it out of ivory.
Yeah.
Mine is
And then once it
missing
became
a
an
screw,
endangered.
but
Yeah, it's missing the screw because of Bob Lobsey. Again, guys, we all know, but and that's that whole friendship thing again, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird. And then you
That's why
stay
they're
with
so
these guys.
expensive. Anyway,
I mean,
they're made with really
Yeah.
good materials.
There's some of the guys we've had on the show that Sal's had on the show that you've known
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, it makes me think of the book series, the Brotherhood of War by W.E.B. Griffin.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the
The
young guys
lieutenants
out
and
there,
all that.
Yep.
Like, really great book series. If anybody wants to get inspired about the Marine Corps, it's a good way to start. But
young guys should
your
read that.
relationship makes me think of those guys in that book.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know,
Why?
Just
You tell us a little more about that.
it's just the way it extends beyond the Marine Corps. You like it becomes a troop. I mean, it's called the Brotherhood of War, right?
Yeah.
Because what brings you together is this thing, this mechanism, the Marine Corps, for fighting. But it just expands its tendrils out into so many different aspects of your life. And next thing you know, you're going to weddings and you're helping people who have babies. And I remember Jill and I, our good friend of ours, Dave Handy. Dave, you're getting on the show one of these days. Was having a baby, and he was in Iraq. So me and Jill became like the surrogate father kind of role
Yeah.
in him having this, and her having the baby. It's stuff like that. It's like
So I had something once happen that was pretty interesting.
all I did was get her pizza after she was done. I did
Yeah.
nothing, right? Jill
But it was
did
good
all the
pizza.
work.
It was good pizza.
It was good pizza.
It's like East Coast pizza. But my cousin married a really good friend of mine. And he passed away 3 years ago. He was a retired Lieutenant Colonel 03, Bob Bolin.
Good friend of ours.
And she came to me and she said, "You know what, Michael, I don't think I've ever thanked you for introducing me to Bob." Because Bob and I were roommates at the recruit depot in San Diego. And I said, "You know what, you really need to thank Keith Kelly." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And she's known Keith,
Since we were kids.
Yeah.
I had a
And-
crush on her when we were in high school, but she's gorgeous.
That was Keith's wife making that
good.
noise.
Giggling about that, yeah.
Christy knows this.
It's a high school thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I got to San Diego and I didn't know anybody, and Keith introduces me to Izzy, Steve Nellis. And then Steve Nellis is in a different company from me, and his coworker was Bob Bowen. So if it wasn't Keith didn't introduce me to Izzy, I probably wouldn't have met Bob, and then you wouldn't have met him, and then you wouldn't have the kids you have today and had the life.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. It is way outside of just
Yeah.
the Marine
Yeah,
Corps,
the
you know?
degrees of separation in the Marine Corps are not that big. Not 7 degrees,
No.
whatever they call it.
As recently as last night, we had shout out to the ancestral Kelly Mansion. We had Marine Corps birthday party last night. Shout out to Jill for making some excellent pork. I called Italian pork; it was delicious. Christy, shout out to you because you put up with 30 goddamn lunatics who were drunk, and you worked your butt off for a week to make it happen. And we had a great party. The Leathernecks Motorcycle Club was there, and it was fun. I got a text last night from one of the guys in Texas from the club. Goes, hey, just let's let you know, I'm a Marine Corps birthday thing, and your brother's here, and I'm with your brother right now.
Oh my God.
And so here's a guy I knew. He's an active duty first sergeant. He was here in North Carolina with us. He PCSs to Texas to be in the reserve unit, as I call it, the adult leadership program, and runs into my brother at a big motorcycle birthday party event in Texas. And I think there's 12 people in the Marine Corps. Just
Seems
keep
that way.
rotating
Yeah,
around.
it seems that way.
Danny Joe, as a friend of ours, we've talked about on the show, is a Secret Service agent. Of course, these guys know Danny Joe. We've known each other forever. He's a Marine with us, guy became a Secret Service agent. He's an interesting cat in a lot of ways, but he talks about the friendship thing and how it all interconnects over and over years.
It brings up a really interesting kind of path to talk about, like, because it's the shared misery, it's the shared experience of horrible things, really, that pull you together, and that just brings out a humanity, I think. You know what I mean? Because we think it's the opposite of what you
I'll
would think.
never
would
forget a day we were we were on UDP, Unit Deployment Program, so 2-7 we were up in Camp Hansen and Okinawa. I don't know what happened, but Kelly and I, we just sat on the front stoop of our.
It was a stoop. It was like something out of Newark, New Jersey.
Now,
where
if
these
you're
row
from the
houses.
East Coast, you know what
Yeah.
a stoop is. If
Yeah.
you're from the West Coast, you don't. But
Hey,
we're on
don't
the
look at me like that.
no, I don't mean that. So we're on the stoop. We're both sitting there with a pair of boxer shorts on.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think we had a T-shirt on. Probably a ball cap. And something happened, and we're both just bawling. You know, we got our arms around each other, sitting there drinking a beer, and I don't know what it was, but we were pissed. We
Yeah.
were really pissed to the point of tears. That this is bullcrap. And that's that kind of. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Sitting on that boxer shorts.
100 degrees out.
Yeah, you know, sweating your butt off
Yeah.
and pissed us off. And
Yeah,
we were
something
just.
happened. I can't remember.
It couldn't have been our battalion CO.
No, it was Merle Sexton. Was
Incredible
magnificent
man,
guy.
incredible. But I don't know what it was. It was some jerk off in our battalion that did something, and
Well,
That was
that's
getting
what I'm-
fucked
that's
over
what I'm
but
bad.
saying.
there we
It's like-
were, both in tears with a
It
beer.
transcends the Marine Corps. It becomes a really like a brother. You become family,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Absolutely.
we were kind of laughing when you and Jill were helping this lady with the baby. Ask these idiots about. So, Christy is as you guys know this, but out there in TV land, my wife at the time, I met my wife in the gym. She's a competitive bodybuilder, weighed about $100 and we decided to have children. And up jumps the devil. Somebody put 2 of them in there at once. So if you put 2 babies in a 110-pound body, apparently it doesn't work well. So she was in a hospital for 3 months, flat on her
Yeah.
back. And these jackasses came every day. They brought her presents. Mike dressed up as who, Mike?
Budbone Santa.
And what is Mudbone Santa?
He's Santa from the hood.
So these guys
And he
came.
had Elf and Izzy.
The Elf and Izzy. Izzy
I had
dressed
no
up like-
choice because I was living with you for
Yeah.
a couple weeks or so, and
Yeah.
she was gone, in there, and so he was my ride, so I had to come see him. Not that I wanted, I didn't want to.
It was a lot of, so it's that family thing. So every day, Christy's got, to the point like the nurses are like, dude, and we didn't get in trouble. I always brought beer. I can't believe I did this. I brought a cooler up there every night. And Christy and I are both so little.
Wait, you can't believe you did it.
I can't believe they let me do it.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more perfect.
They didn't care. So Friday night, we lay in bed. And because I'm so little, we could both fit in the same bed and drink beer. But the family angle was these guys were there because we were in for it. Christy, it was
October, November,
yeah,
December.
Halloween, Marine Corps birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all in the hospital. We decorated. These guys, we brought chem lights up, decorated. It was a family event for 3 goddamn months.
Yeah.
Tell the story about the idiot guy that his wife was next to Christy.
Oh,
But he was like all jealous and he was such a buffoon. But wasn't he like mad? Or she was like really into all
he
of
was
us.
a
Yeah.
real shy guy and just didn't know how to take it. And it was funny, the chem lights. It's Halloween, so I said, "Can I bring pumpkins in?" Yeah, sure, I guess so. Because we decorated for everything. We would bring silverware and china and tablecloths for every holiday
Well,
meal.
no one understands that
Yeah.
overboard is not in your.
Yes,
That's not
true.
in your dictionary.
So I brought a bunch of chem lights, and they said, no candles, Keith. You can't put a candle in the jack-o'-lantern. All right. And it's Christy and this girl, and she had the same problem as Christy, could trying to keep the babies in. So they become buddies there for 3 months. So I'd bring enough of, always do everything twice for everybody. So brought in a bunch of chem lights. I turn out the lights in the room. The girl, we're laughing. We're eating Snickers bars. Everybody's happy. And the nurses come in and like lose their shit. Oh, you told us candles, but you have to put those candles. I get oxygen in here. You're gonna kill us all. I'm like, that's a chem light. They didn't know what a chem light was.
Of course not.
So I break them down. I said, take some home for your kids. Kids will love these things. They've never seen chem lights before.
Nice. How much is too much? Keith says no much is too much.
No, that's right.
Keith says more much, please. More much.
You've gone overboard this time, son.
Nope.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I can swim real good. It doesn't matter.
We talked about that last time. I told him getting in the Marine Corps, and my cume was too low to join the first time. I'm arguing with the OSO. Always a good idea. I got hair down on my shoulders, beads on my neck and shit like a lunatic. I can do pull-ups all day long. You should see how I can bench press a Volkswagen. He's like, I'm sure you can, son, but you still have to have a 2.0 to get in. I can't change that. Do you want to shoot a machine gun? Can I do that? Yes, but you have to have a 2.0 cume to do that. Nobody listens.
Yeah.
And there we are.
And there we are. So, Mike, tell us more about how you ended up in the Marine Corps. I know we already did an episode with you, but let's just do a recap.
Yes, really, a recap is Glassboro State with this numbnuts, and I wanted to be a Secret Service agent. That's what I wanted to do. I was a law enforcement major, and I went through a little job fair, and they said, hey, you need to get out and then go and get a master's in accounting to get in the Secret Service right now. And
That
I was
claim where
I was barely getting through Glassboro. I was like, no way, I'm going back to school again. And they said, oh, if you come out of the Marine Corps as an officer, we'll take you right in. We don't care if you have a degree in basket weaving.
Mm-hmm.
So Keith and another buddy of ours had played football with me, and actually almost, I don't know, we probably had 6 or 7 guys on the football team. They were all Marine Corps PLC programs, and so they were like, "Hey, join the Corps." As I really, Johnny was like, "You think that's good for me?" Big old afro. You know, you think that's what I should do?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. So
Why not?
and then I was in love then with Jeannie Lembeck, and I was like, how am I going to afford to pay for her, you know? And so this all seemed to work. So, although like Keith, I was on that repeat program and taking the exam to get in. Took a few times.
Yeah, right. I'm sensing a trend here intellectually.
We just don't test well, Sal. That's what it
Well,
is.
you know, we all had to take the ASVAB. Do you remember when you took the ASVAB?
Well, yeah, because the first time I was trying to get in, it wasn't the ASVAB. It was, they had another test.
Yeah, it was basically the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And then after that, they moved to the ASVAB. I actually thought the ASVAB was kind of fun because they had those boxes. If A folds this is C,
Exactly.
and X and Y go to the left, where does
You remember this shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? I know, right?
But they had math on there.
Yeah.
And as we all know, I got to take my pants off to count to 21. So I'm just saying, I cannot do any math.
You use hemorrhoids?
20 and a half.
Yeah, 20 and a half.
20 and a half. I had to go in, like I said, I had to enlist as a formality down at the Navy recruiter in our town outside of Philadelphia, and it had to be done quickly. And so I can remember, and I'm taking that exam.
Yeah.
Well, I've said before, my dad he could make anything, he could fix anything, whatever. He had zero patience for me with a hammer or a screwdriver, so I never learned anything. My toolbox is a checkbook.
Yeah.
So it skips a generation. My son is a phenomenal, can make anything, fix anything, build anything. So here I am, I'm taking a test, and it says, is this picture, is this a screwdriver, a chisel, or what, that, and I'm like, and the chief at the recruiting station is standing over me, and I'm about ready to do this bubble, and he's like, I mean, that's how I ended up passing that, because it was like, I had to get it all done. That was around 1st of July or so, and I still had to get the physical and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, get down to the MEP station in Philly and raise your rate. Oh, that was
we went through the MEP station in Philly.
So I go down to Philly, and it's the end of the month. It's 26th, 27th of I think July. And
They're trying to make that
I'm
They're making shipping quota.
So I'm not there. I just had to go down there to do the whole raise the right hand, sign more papers, and we're sitting in there. And of course, Philly, Jersey boys, a couple of Jersey kids come in, and they were just yucking it up, thinking this was 1973.
Oh, yeah.
So they're still shipping some guys over to Vietnam. 2 more years of that going on and everything. And these 2 guys are yucking it up. They were like Buster badasses. Philly, New Jersey, Italian, let's go in and do this. Well, by about 3 in the afternoon, they were on the phone. Hey, Mom? Because they were shipping them out that day, putting them on a plane and going up to Great Lakes. Great Lakes,
So they're going
Michigan.
Navy? Yeah.
Oh, they were Navy, and they were, no, I don't. I'm not coming home for dinner. And me and this other guy who I met at the prep school, and now I'm on Facebook with them all. Rudy Costanza, he was a pilot in the Navy and all this kind of stuff. He and I were both doing the same thing, heading to the prep school, and we were both sitting there, and he's just like, those guys are fucked. Because we have another 2 weeks at home to do nothing.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, Christ, drinking age was 21. I couldn't,
Could have crossed the bridge with me and Mike was 18.
I could not. Well, I couldn't wait to get out of Pennsylvania, go to Maryland, and that's where NTC Bainbridge was in Maryland, just barely.
Yeah.
Christ, my parents couldn't figure out why I'd never come home on weekends. An hour and a half away. Can't drink up there. 19, and I can,
Maryland had an 18.
18.
Yeah.
I was 18. Yeah. But that was funny, that recruiting thing, and the guy MEPS.
Anybody who's ever done recruiting, they know what that end of the month is, man.
Yeah.
And you got to make that mission.
Did you do recruiting too, Mike?
Yeah, I was the district assistant for enlisted recruiting, so I was at the district headquarters, and I managed all the enlisted
In Philly,
recruiting
right?
in
Yeah,
Philly
yeah.
for the 9 recruiting stations, and it is the most bizarre job I've ever had in the Marine Corps, and that's the farthest away from the Marine Corps I've ever been, and because it's a business.
Yeah.
And you got those 84, what were they?
12s.
12s.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game, yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
it's
recruit?
so-
Sal?
No,
No.
I avoided that one.
And it's a
Plague.
brutal job. And we were talking about this the other night. This is right at the beginning of Desert Storm, and they jacked our numbers up. And I remember our colonel, full bird colonel, was the district CO. We missed shipping for the
That's a
month.
death sentence.
So what does that mean? When you miss shipping? You missed your
Every-
numbers for the month?
Yeah, so our district would have to ship like 500 some people a month down in Paris Island.
Yep.
And so you break it down into.
So that month you did 460 or something.
Yeah, it
Didn't make
wasn't.
the
I don't even
500,
think we
whatever.
missed it by that
Yeah,
much.
okay,
It
whatever.
wasn't even that high, but I
Whatever.
remember.
Didn't matter, huh?
No,
Number
it didn't
was the
matter.
number.
If it's
You
one.
hit the number on the head.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the hardest part of shipping was to get the WMs.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
and,
sure.
and we always planned to ship them on the first day of the week so that we had a couple of days to back up. But this particular month, we missed mail shipping. And the colonel got called down to the general's office down at Paris Island. And because, CG of Paris Island was in charge of recruiting for the Eastern recruiting region, and he was, the CG for the recruit depot. And literally, our colonel walked in, he locked him up in the position of attention and told him if he ever missed the numbers again, he'd fucking kill him. That was what a general said to a full bird.
That's leadership
I-
101.
Leadership 101.
MCI for private leadership.
Yeah.
You don't make it, I'll kill you.
And that's the way it was. That is a brutal job. Anybody who's ever done recruiting duty, he's been out there.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's ever done it, you got to
I
take.
came out for his wedding,
Yeah.
and about a week before he got married, and I was down at the RS. Keith was XO, and he had been off at, I don't know where he was, in Detroit or somewhere, running around, and I'm just sitting, I think, in his office waiting, and his RSCO comes in. Who are you? My name's Captain. Oh, you're not a recruit or Poolee?
Yeah.
I said, no, you're no good to me, and he walked away. And I don't think he wasn't joking, because he wasn't a nice person.
He's a tool bag. I had back-to-back tool bags on recruiting duty. It's the law averages is every third or fourth CO is an asshole. The reality. I went over 2 in that 3 years. I had a tool bag of monumental proportions, and then I had a secondary tool bag of monumental proportions. And so I can see him saying that.
Yeah. Well, the
You're
truth
good
of the
at it.
matter,
You're
truth
good
of the
at
matter is those majors were under so much pressure,
Yeah.
and people do the stupidest things on recruit duty because, and the Marine Corps sucks in that they'll take a good Marine, take a good 03 who's great, and they think he's going to be a great recruiter.
Because he's good at what he does.
Yeah, but you
It
got to
doesn't
have
translate.
you got to have a certain personality to take no all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of Marines aren't used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a tough job for them. And then all of a sudden, there's like, you better make your number.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't do it, but what I hear from all the times I talk to people who have done it, is it's a numbers game, right? So you got to call 100 people, cold call them, to meet with 10,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah.
In order to ship one.
Yeah, they
Maybe.
actually
It's
sent
probably
us.
different than
There's,
that.
well, no, that's
No,
your basis, right?
and they actually sent the officers to the Xerox sales training course.
Leesburg, Virginia.
And there
Oh,
was a formula, just like you said. Contacts. You had to contact so many people, set so many appointments to get so many interviews.
Yeah.
And then to get so many contracts to ship so many.
Right.
Because a lot of people sign,
But then
and
they'll
a
back
lot
out.
of people don't notice. You sign,
Well,
and
don't
they'll even take your
don't
sword.
ruin the recruiting effort.
Yeah,
Don't tell any secrets.
Because I'm the guy who used to go in there and going, you either go or I'll have you arrested.
It was
And I've told
crazy.
kids that.
It was crazy for me because I have been on the drill field side of it.
Sure.
And I remember we get these people can't do a damn pull up, and you think, what
What are
these
they doing out
recruiters
there?
doing?
Yeah.
And then to go back out,
You understand?
yeah, because
yeah.
the pressure's
Yeah.
on you. And in fact, I told them the story the other day. we shipped a kid down to Paris Island, and this dude couldn't do any pull-ups, couldn't do any sit-ups, and we got the call. And the colonel was pissed. Colonel Milo, he lives here somewhere. Should look him up. Crazy dude. and he was like, get a hold of the CO of Harrisburg. Get him in here. So it was like he said, hey, the colonel wants you in 7:30. Harrisburg was like 4 or 5 hours or something from Philly. So this poor ass major, can't remember his name, he gets up old dark 30 to drive to Philly.
Does he have a clue why he's going?
Oh yeah, he.
yeah.
You know.
You
know when you.
someone filled him in.
Oh yeah, you kidding me?
okay.
So I was like on there, like you're,
Sure.
Colonel pissed. And so literally, he walks into the CO's office. You have to drive him forever. CO doesn't even look up. He's just looking down, and the major reports to him. He says, "Don't fucking do it again. Dismissed."
And that's recruiting duty.
Yeah, it is. I don't wish that on
I'll
anybody.
kill you.
So just to kind of come full circle here, that's why he's so good at picking up chicks at the bar, right? 'Cause he's working the magic.
He's working the magic. See?
100 contacts get you 4 numbers,
Oh, there you go. There you go.
End of the night, I got 4 phone numbers. I worked it.
Yeah.
You know what? That used to be the petty. Oh, we got another friend. He's.
We're trying to get him on a show. Around New Year's Eve, he'll be here, so we're going to do a show.
Yeah, you got to have him. He'll have everybody laughing.
Good.
He's had me laughing since I saw him the first time eating glass in Glasgow
In our
State,
apartment,
and
yeah.
and so
He ate all our glasses one semester.
yeah.
We stole those glasses, and they weren't easy to get. We stole them. And Doug ate every one. Son of a bitch.
But he used to say, and Doug, I called him the world's ugliest man, but he got women like left and right, like all of his life, and he's that guy.
Yeah.
And
He's that guy.
he used to say all the time, he said, you know what, I used to think picking up women was like football. You lose a game, you're screwed, you're out of the playoffs, but it's more like baseball. If you get 1 out of 3, you're batting 300. You're going to Hall of Fame.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
We got guys all over the country that we could, bump. I had a guy from 2-7 call me just last week, and he lives in like Ontario or Riverside,
Ron?
California.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, Jimmy, the Marine Corps League bar, which is not a league bar anymore, it's private, but in Vegas, always has a huge Marine Corps
Like
birthday
hundreds
ball.
and hundreds and hundreds of people
Yeah,
in the
they
parking
close
lot.
their parking lot, put up, not tents,
Awnings.
but awnings, and put bars out there. And it's a great time. And you run into guys all over the place. Well, he called me, he said, hey, you gonna do anything for Marine Corps birthday? I'm like, Ron, I hadn't even thought about it. I'll sit out back of the house, have obnoxious music playing, and drink beer all day if you want to join me. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, I called the league. But here it is, this guy, out of 2-7 days, he was about a year
About a year ahead
before
of
our
us,
time, but
Shit, we were all at his wedding too.
yes. So he just like, well, first of all, I want to send you a picture of Kelly, photo, if you can get it to him, and it's with him and Wamsley.
Another guy.
Lots of stories about that idiot. Our swords. And, yeah. So anyway, Ron, it just comes out of the woodwork, these guys, and it always seems to be from our first unit or that degree of, my friend is your friend now, and it's just the way it is.
You know
it
what,
is.
I think it's more than that. That's certainly a big part of all.
But that's
of our
how it came to
friendships,
be,
but
and then
I
it's
also
just-
think it's really nobody else has done what we've done. And I don't care if it's combat tours or if you never went to combat. You've done something different than anybody else who's walking on the planet. Yeah. And I think that's the bond, because you can be in anywhere, you find out the dude's a Marine, if he's a good Marine, and then you're like buddies for life.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just the way it is.
That's what Danny Joe.
I think that's the coolest part of this whole.
Yeah.
Danny Joe said that to me when he
Yeah.
used to, when he's stationed in New York City, he's at my parents' house every weekend, and every weekend his mom's feeding him and everything. I'd call home on the weekends and Dan's answering the phone. But he said that to me at one point. It was a kind of a joke. He goes, hey, Keith, because he's from Georgia, he goes, when you grew up in New Jersey, is it a requirement to join the Marine Corps? I'm like, he goes, everywhere I go, I run into Marines, but that's that thing. He goes, you see a guy with a tattoo or a T-shirt or a ball cap, you just go and talk to him because he was a Marine.
Yeah, when we're in.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, what's up?
Or we're going through the airport and we see some young Marines, you go up and you buy them
Oh,
a drink.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's that bond.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't know them. You don't have the Keith Kelly connection.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? You just
6
see
degrees of
them.
Keith Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes. So you mentioned, some people went to combat, some people didn't. Neither of us, I don't know if you were lucky enough or unlucky enough to have to go, but I do recall this. So I'm PCSing from Coronado to Okinawa. I have my 18-month-old son with me. My wife had gone ahead of me to get a place to live there. And so I'm in the Navy Lodge on NAS North Island. That thing, you step out of your room, you're on the beach.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
But you're right at the end of the runway of NAS North Island. And I'm for 2 or 3 mornings in a row, it's me and my 18-month-old. So, I'm not even turning the TV on at night because he's got to go to sleep and stuff. And about 4 days into that week there before I flew, I called Kelly. I said, Kelly, what the hell is going on? I said, at the end of the runway at NAS North Island, there's been like 3 C5s, 5 141s.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, I said something. He's like, you have your fucking head in the sand or what? I go, what are you talking about? He says, we're going to fucking war. And right now, Izzy's up at my house packing Christy out. And da-da-da. Well, I'd like to help out, but I got an 18-month-old here, and it's just me and him. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. It was the whole, going to first Iraq, thing, or Beirut. Kuwait. I knew it was one of the Middle Eastern places. And, here I was, so it was the first week of August, and I'm just waiting to get up to LAX for my flight to, what do you call it? It was, and
Now, you flew out of LAX?
I flew, it was miserable.
Oh, shocking.
It was just me and my 18-month-old. I get there first. I'm first in line. I get there at like 2 in the afternoon for a midnight flight. And I'm waiting in line for the, what did they call it? Mac, for the Mac.
Oh,
flight.
you took a Mac flight.
Yeah. And I get there, I'm first. And I said, yeah, I'd like to get upstairs. Not with a kid.
What?
Oh, shit. I said, how about an exit row? Not with a kid. Oh, geez, can I choose a seat in steerage? Yes. So, well, I'd like the aisle and the middle seat for him. Not with a kid. Can't put the kid in the middle seat. What? He's got to be on the window seat in case of emergency. Nobody has to climb over this kid. I'm in Charlie's. I don't think I was in Charlie's.
Yeah.
And then, here it is, 2 in the afternoon. Flight's not leaving until midnight. And I got this 18-month-old that wants to run crazy. We're going to, thank God for the USO. I've been a strong proponent of USO ever since, because they even, one of the ladies in the USO at LAX even, she watched TJ for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I just left and walked around and went to a bar probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I know the rumor.
But that was like August 6th or 7th, the day I flew to Okinawa, and he was packing Christy, before Christy was packing out the kids to head back to Michigan.
I was already
couldn't
gone.
help.
Well, I was leaving momentarily, yeah.
But and we get to Okinawa, and everybody's, for all those single billets that they started trying to fill there in Saudi Arabia, and everybody's raising their hand.
Yeah.
And I remember a guy by the name of Lieutenant Colonel Jeff O'Connell, and he said, put your hand down, don't ever raise it again. He said, if there's combat, if there's that situation and you're needed or our unit is needed, you'll go. I know you will. He said, but don't volunteer to go over there and be thrown into somebody's unit like you're a piece of trash. He said, you'll end up you'll end up 10 of 10, and you'll end up, on a fitness thing because you're the eyeball in.
So, mentorship again.
Yeah. Let me make a comment about something that you said, Jimmy. And it's just like a shout out to all the guys who served during the Cold War. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came in during the Cold War, and I served during the Cold War, and then I served in combat as well. Those guys, they did a huge service for this country, and it's because if the balloon had gone up during the Cold War, man, it was going to be really nasty.
Yeah.
Because it was us against Russia at that point. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you guys were so well trained during that period and kept yourself in a position where you could have responded to that, it like thwarted a lot of those things. So to think that just because you didn't have, or if any of the guys out there didn't have an opportunity to serve during a combat time, you still served your country as much as anybody else, man.
Yeah.
Don't
I don't slight myself for it. It was just an opportunity that was. We were in different places.
I put it in context just because there's a lot of guys out there who feel that way, like they missed.
I think it was hard
too.
too. I think it because we were coming, like when we all checked in, it was right after Vietnam. And there was some really good Marines and there was some really bad, but the community, the country didn't like us.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a lot. And, we were laughing because I remember we did a mechanized change in command for our colonel at 10th Marines, and was doing a gas shortage. But we didn't have money. I remember we used to go to the field. Remember, we used to go and you go bang bang because they couldn't even buy you. And Artie would go out and we dry fire.
Yeah.
And basically that means you're going through everything, you're setting up, and then
everybody go bang
and
1, 2, 3.
Stand by. You had to do it again.
Bang or boom.
But it was a different time, and I think when the country started coming around was probably about the time when Beirut went down. I think that's when the first time I really saw people And I don't know, sometimes, I don't know how you guys all feel about this whole thank you for your service. I get it. I feel like it's an overused term now, you know.
I think it's virtue signaling. It's
What
a
do you
form
say?
of- It's a form of virtue signaling. It's like, it makes them feel good about themselves.
About
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
instead of really giving a crap
Yeah, I
about
don't
it.
Yeah.
even know what to say, you know. when
Makes me
someone says
uncomfortable.
that. But that was the first time I saw that, you know, I remember I was in San Diego, I was getting ready to run a 10K when it went down, and a platoon of Marines from Pendleton was running it, and they came in formation, and people turned and they clapped. I was shocked.
That's a genuine response.
Yeah, that they turned and clapped for
Yeah.
these Marines. I mean, I had never seen that, you know, before, and now it's really gone full circle. And what I love about it, the country might not like the people, the leaders, and decisions that they're making, but they don't break it and take it out on the Marines
Yeah.
or any of the other armed forces. They support them, even though they might not support what they're doing, which is a far cry back from Vietnam
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those poor suckers, I mean, you know, serve their country
Yeah.
and they come home and they're treated like
Man, the
crap.
military is an extension of politics. So if you don't like what we're doing, you need to talk to the politicians because we're just
We're just the
we're
tool.
just a tool of your government.
Absolutely.
But you know what, to what you're saying, we all signed that check, right?
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
say I do, you're signing that check.
That's right.
You know, to do whatever they ask. And, you know, I remember when it was going down for us with Desert Storm, I was literally driving, I just picked up Major and I was driving cross country. And I was driving to Philly to go on recruiting duty. And, you know, I was like, holy shit. And then I got home and I called back I was with 5th Meb, I called back there and said, you want me to come back? And they were like, you belong to recruiting duty now.
Yeah.
So I literally checked in, and as I was in part of check-in, I said, sir, I want to go to the war. And he said, talk to your monitor. If they let you go, we're okay. Talked to the monitor, said, hey, we got 2 priorities. Because remember, we thought we were going to get our ass kicked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first priority was the war. Guess what the second priority was?
Putting more people in.
Yep.
Yeah. Combat
Yeah.
Got to keep the machine moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, listen, talking about blank checks, these 2 jackasses are going to write a check for us to go to lunch here in a few minutes. So, let me just say to Hunter Patakowski, now you see what it is.
It's a brotherhood.
You know people forever.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you, Sal.
Thanks,
Michael?
Jimmy.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thanks, Keith.
Jimmy?
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Yep.
Can we drink more beer now?
Yeah.
Oh,